Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, after the latest breakout to the upside, Bitcoin is now retesting a critical area on the chart, while also flashing a new signal in the short term that we need to pay attention to. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment, alongside Ethereum, which is now running into critical short-term resistance, while also flashing a new signal in the short term, alongside Solana flashing the same signal in the short term. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in this video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, taking a look at the Bitcoin ETF news today, and on Monday we actually saw the first net inflow into the spot Bitcoin ETFs in over a week. Because in case you're new to this channel, every single weekday last week we saw net outflows from the spot Bitcoin ETF, which was one of the reasons as to why we saw a pullback in the price of Bitcoin from high to low, because we were seeing a lot of outflows from the ETFs, which means selling pressure. But yesterday, once again, that changed. At least for yesterday, we saw a net inflow of around $15.5 million US. And this net inflow is mostly thanks to Fidelity, which is the FBTC Bitcoin ETF, because just yesterday, Fidelity had an inflow into their Bitcoin ETF of over $260 million US. Meanwhile, BlackRock actually had a relatively weak inflow of only around $35 million. And once again, Grayscale had yet another decent sized outflow, which is GBTC. They had another decent sized outflow of around $350 million US. But basically, at this rate that Grayscale is selling their Bitcoin, having these outflows coming out of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, at this rate, within around 1 to 2 months or so, Grayscale will be completely out of Bitcoin. And so what that means is these massive outflows coming out from Grayscale causing selling pressure, basically limiting what the ETFs are actually doing for Bitcoin right now. These massive outflows will likely stop within the next couple of months or so, which means we're no longer seeing that massive selling pressure from Grayscale within a few months. Because either one of two things happen over the next 1 to 2 months. Either Grayscale perhaps lowers their fees, which will slow down the outflows. Basically, the outflows will slow down, which means we start to see larger net inflows. Or if they don't do that, then once again, in a couple of months from now, they will be completely out of business. They'll be out of Bitcoin, which means they can't sell any more Bitcoin in a few months from now at this rate. And also keep in mind, just next month, we have the Bitcoin halving, which is one of the most fundamental bullish events for Bitcoin. In Bitcoin's entire price history, it's always resulted in a major bull run over the next 1 year or so. And so we still have multiple factors lining up, pointing towards a major bull market over the next 1 year, give or take. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin chart, looking at the weekly time frame, the charts also say the same thing. If we're looking at the larger time frames, we're still clearly in a bullish market. And as I've been saying over and over again here on the channel over the last couple of weeks, right now Bitcoin is potentially repeating history as we're trading around that all-time high level, just like what we were in the last bull market back at the end of 2020. And around that all-time high breakout level, we actually struggled for a few weeks here because this is the weekly time frame. So each one of these candles is an entire week. So if we're looking back here, we actually struggled for around 3 to 4 weeks before seeing a major breakout to the upside. And so very soon we could potentially see the same thing if history were to repeat. Once again, right now we're potentially repeating history because we're seeing very similar price structure, and it's also very clear that on the larger time frames we're still in a bullish market. And so keep all of that in mind when I'm talking about the short term. Obviously that's different from larger time frames. Once again, on larger time frames, looking at the bigger picture, I'm very bullish on the price of Bitcoin, but obviously in the short term we can see short-term pullbacks and things like that here and there. And with that being said, zooming into the shorter term, looking at the 4-hour time frame, and obviously over the last 1 to 2 days or so, we saw that successful breakout to the upside from this inverse head and shoulders pattern, which is a bullish pattern, and that set up a technical price target at around 73,500 approximately. And obviously, if you've been watching my videos over the last few days or so, you would know that I've been talking about this bullish pattern and this bullish price target since all the way back down here before we actually saw the breakout. And so I actually gave you a few days to prepare for this breakout. I said the moment we actually confirm a breakout above this line right here, that is the signal to potentially enter a long position to trade this move to the upside, which is exactly what I did as I explained in my last video. And so if you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe to this channel with notifications turned on and click all for notifications so that you don't miss out on any of these important update videos where I actually share trading opportunities where you could potentially make a lot of easy money, as I have done right now. And if you're new to the channel, if you missed my last few videos sharing this trading opportunities since all the way back down here, do not worry, there's always more trading opportunities, which once again I share here on the channel, so make sure you subscribe with notifications on. And also, in case you're wondering, I took this trade right here over on Bybit, so I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit in the description down below and in the pinned comment. And if you actually use that link to make a Bybit account and deposit on that account, you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check that out. Once again, first link down below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. And so I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitflex in the description down below and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can enter an exclusive Apple Watch giveaway just by trading crypto on Bitflex. And so once again, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well get set up or ready to go on one of those exchanges using those links if you want to claim those extra bonuses. And also, in case you're wondering, for this long position that I have right here, I've already got my stop loss sitting in profits above my entry price, which basically means in the worst case scenario, even if we don't hit the price target and we crash right now, I would exit out of the trade automatically in some decent profits. And if we're taking a look at this 4-hour Bitcoin chart, right now the price of Bitcoin is actually retesting a critical area of support, which was previous resistance on the chart. And this is actually sitting in between around 68,500 to 70,000, which once again should act as new support for Bitcoin. And once again, just in case you're new to all of this, support is essentially where there's a lot of buyers waiting to buy Bitcoin, so usually the price bounces around those levels, and resistance is where a lot of people are interested in selling Bitcoin, so usually the price kind of rejects from those levels or struggles around those levels. And so right now, once again, we have that area of support. We also have more support down towards 66,000. And as for resistance, we have a lot of resistance right here in between around 73,000 to 74,000. And once again, that is right where the technical price target is for this inverse head and shoulders pattern breakout. And also for this symmetrical triangle pattern breakout, we have a technical price target at roughly around 73,500 right in that area of resistance. And so for as long as the price of Bitcoin can now hold above that area of support that I just mentioned and actually see a bounce from that level, obviously that will be bullish price structure. Anytime where we flip previous resistance into new support, that is price structure heading in the bullish direction. And so in this case, that would simply continue the breakout towards this price target. And once again, we could potentially struggle around that area of resistance. And the bearish scenario here would obviously be if we actually break back below around 68,500. In that scenario, we could actually drop back down towards around 66,500 to 67,000. We do have some support right around there, just based on this price action right here. And potentially one of the reasons as to why we've seen a slight pullback, a very slight pullback at least so far in the short term to retest this area of support, is due to this bearish divergence just on the 1 hour time frame. Because as you can see here, just in the imminent short term for Bitcoin, we have higher highs confirmed in the price action in the candle closes and lower highs confirmed in the 1 hour Bitcoin RSI. And so what this tells us is just in the imminent short term here, as in potentially over the next few hours, maybe over the next 1 day, we're losing a little bit of short-term bullish momentum, and usually these play out in the form of either choppy sideways price action, if not a slight pullback, as the most common outcomes from a bearish divergence. But remember, this is only on the 1 hour time frame, and the smaller the time frame, the less significant and the smaller the moves. So basically, I do not expect this pattern to completely invalidate the breakout for this pattern or this pattern, for example. And instead, it's basically just resulting in a bit of a short-term pause during this breakout to the upside. And once again, this could potentially play out over the coming hours, maybe over the next 1 day, but honestly, I don't expect this to play out any longer than 1 day, pretty much max. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, we can actually see some short-term liquidity right here building to the upside, which is sitting at around 71.7k to 71.8k approximately. And as for other liquidity, we do have some short-term downside liquidity at around 66.4k, but currently that's not as much as what we have to the upside. And if we're actually zooming out to a larger time frame, we can see a lot more liquidity for Bitcoin, which is sitting right around the all-time high level at around $74,000. And once again, in case you're new to this, Bitcoin usually goes towards where there's most liquidity. And so these areas of liquidity kind of act as magnets, basically attracting the price of Bitcoin towards those areas. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the weekly time frame, right now we're still holding above that critical area on the chart in between around 3.4k to 3.5k. And so as of right now, that is the critical support on the weekly time frame. And as for resistance on the weekly time frame, we still have some decent resistance at around 4.1k, and above that we have more resistance at around the all-time high, sitting at around 4.9k approximately. But once again, just like Bitcoin on the weekly time frame, the price of ETH is still clearly in a larger bullish trend, also known as a bull market, here on the weekly time frame, despite what happens just in the short term. And speaking of the short term, zooming into the 4-hour time frame, and obviously over the last 1 to 2 days, we saw that breakout to the upside from this inverse head and shoulders pattern, which once again is a bullish pattern once we confirm a breakout above the neckline, which was sitting at around 34.40 approximately. And so once we saw this breakout, that set up a bullish price target sitting at around 39.50. And so right now, we still actually have a decent way to go towards that price target. We still actually have around a 10% move to the upside from the current price as of recording this video. And this bullish price target only gets invalidated if we see a confirmed break back below the point of the breakout. So basically, if we break back below roughly around 3.4k, then essentially that invalidates the price target to the upside and invalidates this pattern. And also, we have to remember that the price obviously does not just move in one straight line towards the price target. We obviously have other resistance levels and support levels along the way. For example, taking a look at this 4-hour time frame, we can see that over the last 1 day or so, we've run into this short-term resistance level, which is the exact level that I've been talking about since all the way back down here, actually. And this level is sitting at around 36.50. And this is based on previous resistance and support. And as for the next resistance level to the upside, we have an important area of resistance in between around 37.50 to 3.8k. And the next important resistance above 3.8k is basically this local high, sitting at around 4,000 to 4.1k. And as for short-term support, obviously over the last 1 day, we just broke out above this short-term area of resistance, which was previous support. And so that should once again act as new support, sitting in between around 34.70 to around 35.40. And at least as of recording this video, we've seen a slight retest of that level. And so far, we're currently finding support around that area. And obviously, the short-term bearish scenario would be if we broke back below around 34.70, and in that scenario, honestly, we could drop potentially back down to 3.3k, but obviously that's only if we break back below this area of support, which obviously as of right now has not yet happened. And if we're zooming into just the imminent short term, looking at the 1 hour time frame, obviously over the last 1 day, like Bitcoin on the 1 hour time frame, we do have a short-term bearish divergence here for the price of ETH. Because we have already confirmed higher highs in the price action in the candle closes, while also confirming lower highs in the 1 hour Ethereum RSI. And so once again, this tells us that just in the imminent short term here, we're losing a little bit of bullish momentum in that breakout to the upside. And usually these play out in the form of either a short term pullback or choppy sideways price action as the most likely outcomes. And so ultimately, this should just be a bit of a short-term pause during that breakout to the upside. And once again, that's also happening right around this resistance, which is a couple of reasons as to why we've seen a slight pullback just in the short term here. And if we're taking a look at Solana on the 2 hour time frame, obviously over the last 1 to 2 days or so, we saw that breakout to the upside from this symmetrical triangle pattern, setting up a short-term bullish price target at around $220, as I explained in my last video. But just like Bitcoin and Ethereum, we also have a short-term bearish divergence here just on the 2 hour time frame and also on the 1 hour time frame, with higher highs confirmed in the price in the candle closes and lower highs confirmed here in the 2 hour Solana RSI. And so once again, as I've been saying throughout this video, I expect either a short-term pullback or choppy sideways price action just in the imminent short term here, talking about the coming hours, maybe over the next 1 day or so. But this by itself is not necessarily enough to fully cancel this breakout to the upside. Once again, it's basically just a bit of a pause during the breakout to the upside, at least as of right now. And as for short-term support, we have been finding some support right around here at around $185, give or take. And below that, honestly, if we break back below $185, we could potentially retrace back down towards around $177 based on previous resistance. But once again, right now, that bullish price target at around 220 is still technically active on the chart because we have not yet invalidated the breakout by seeing a break back below the point of the breakout. And in case you're wondering, from the current price to that technical price target, that's still around a 17% move to the upside if we hit the price target and complete the pattern. And as for resistance, we have some resistance at around $195 and more resistance I should expect at around $208. And once again, if you want to trade these moves in the price of any crypto, check out those links down below this video for those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, you can profit from all of that price action by watching these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next video.